When mutants bite hard and munitions are low, our defenses are high, but our bullets won't flow, and we're changing our aim, guarding different roads. Chuds will tear us apart again.
Oh, I see where that went eventually. See, I couldn't identify it by the melody because
I can't
you are
sing
as
for shit,
you are as tone deaf as a fucking seat cushion.
Yeah, we made that joke. I like the hip-hop.
Yes, you do. I like the show tunes.
You do like a bit of razzle-dazzle.
At the table in the corner, I could see a world reborn.
What's that from?
And they rose with voices ringing, and I can hear them now, the very words that they had sung became their last communion.
There's an open house going on this floor too, so right now everyone thinks that there's like just song practice going on.
It'll make them more willing to move in. They'll get to hear me lovely singing in the shower.
Free music!
What are we playing?
I don't know. The title screen just didn't have it in front of us. Well, taking the word, which we forgot to do at the end of the video last week, which was slide.
Yes.
Whenever I hear slide in my head, it immediately jumps to the little penguin from...
I know it does, because every time we say the word on these videos, you fucking quote that bit.
Yeah, I can't help it. It's like a trigger. Slide. So I thought, well, I'll do the old Fight Club fighting game for the PS2. Which doesn't really have slide. Doesn't really have slide as a central theme, like is usually the point, but it is a very brief reference to the film it's based on. Thank you. Verb as a central theme is like, especially slide. Like, yeah. I mean, I suppose I could have done like.
Well, you could have done Snowboard Kids or something.
Well, yeah, give it a minute, but this game starts terrible and gets worse. Like,
well, I remember the moment it was announced, I think, whoa, that idea completely misses the point of the film, doesn't it?
In a lot of ways, and in a lot of ways I wouldn't even thought it could have. It finds new ways to fail at this, and it's such a cheap, depressing tie-in.
Yeah, I don't see much satire on the concept of anti-capitalism going on here.
Yeah, and I feel sorry for the people who made this. Like, I don't blame them, because obviously this was just, it was a job.
Do we know who made it?
Vivendi.
Oh.
So, yeah,
well, that's a publisher, isn't it?
I don't know.
Tell you what, I'll look. Oh, my phone.
Have a look.
My phone's on the charger.
Well, I'll look it up then.
Well, you can't.
Yeah, there was no great irony, and what they made it into was
They made it into like basically taking the like maybe like the first half of the film as completely.
One hillbilly's review,
unironically literal.
One hillbilly's review of the first 20 minutes of the movie, and they turned it into a shitty Tekken clone, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have. I mean, I've always thought the fighting game is almost an appreciation of characters in its purest form, because it's just colorful characters expressing their personalities through animation and brief voice clips alone. I like it for its elegance, although I don't like playing the games themselves. This is just a continuous fight between two shirtless dudes.
Yeah, like that's... And it's funny what character... Like, also, they don't have the likeness rights to either Brad Pitt or Edward Norton.
No, of course not.
Which is kind of funny.
That shit's worth money, yo.
Yeah, and... They put in weird characters. About the most recognizable character they have in this is Bob, and that is because of his amazing bitch tits.
Now I'm trying to think
Genuine Games is the developer.
Genuine Games. What else do they do?
I'm looking. But, yeah, like, I mean, the characters' models are meant to, like, sort of... Like, this is what I read about it. The character models are meant to bruise. Blood's meant to come out of them, and they're kind of meant to get some damage and stuff.
Yeah, I remember hearing it had a damage engine.
Yeah, which it sort of does, but not very well. He's taunting me, which makes him invulnerable to throws for some reason.
You're fighting like fucking schoolgirls. Look at the slow balletic movements. Well, you fashed up his face.
I have seen so many schoolgirls fight like that.
And you got to see his skeleton for a moment there. It's like Mortal Kombat. That's supposed to be you, is it?
Yeah, like there's no like creator character. That's not like me building me. That's just...
You just can choose your name.
Yeah.
It's like Zelda or something.
Genuine Games' biggest title, 50 Cent Bulletproof.
Oh, nice!
Yeah,
Did they make Blood on the Sand?
Doesn't look like it. But yeah, so the cutscenes
aren't cutscenes.
Our animation budget ran out.
Yeah, they're just CG pictures. And when the faces are kind of comedically rubber puppety, later on, like, there are some cutscenes that are legitimately fucking hilarious because it's just cutting between, like, just shots like that, where it's just cutting between two dumb-looking faces back and forth.
So this game has a plot, does it?
The idea is you're a newbie who wants to join Project Mayhem, and that's basically it. And it's kind of like a side quest to the movie to sort of explain how it fits in with the major narrative.
What I'm kind of suspecting is that maybe they rendered the whole like CG animated movie of this, but either it looked like shit, or they couldn't fit the full video on the disc.
I don't know, like the bullshit, they can't fit like fucking the video on the disc, like come on.
Well, I remember when Spider-Man, the game for N64 and PS1 came out, PS1 version had nice animated CG cutscenes.
Yeah.
N64 version had really, because it was on the cartridge, which had space limitations, had really shitty cutscenes like what we just saw.
Well, this isn't on the Nintendo 64.
No, but I'm just thinking, I'm thinking it might have been something technical. I'm thinking it might have just looked like absolute garbage. So they tried to salvage it as best they could with little time remaining.
I mean, the intro one's, tidy enough for this era.
I didn't really pay attention.
Well, the intro one didn't look shit, so if the intro one could exist...
Well, were they actually... Look at them. Look how slow his blows are.
I was about to say, there is actually a bit of slowdown in this, because I had a choice between hardware emulation, which emulated it at flawless speed, and left giant green bars on the screen.
I see.
Or software emulation, which ran it on slowdown despite what I was cranking it, which is frustrating, because I have a good fucking tower.
Yeah,
which,
I'm sure you do.
Should be able to run it, but that's the woes of emulation. So yeah, in stages where it's raining...
I bet your tower impresses all the ladies.
It gets by. In stages where it's raining, there's a bit more noticeable slowdown. It's mostly okay, otherwise.
Okay. Well, I remember the blows seemed a little slow in the last fight as well.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and it seemed like more an animation thing.
I think the native frame rate for this game was like 50 for some reason, and
well, that shouldn't.
It slows down to about 41, I think it was, where it had its really bad drops.
Well, if it had a lower frame rate, surely an emulation would be playing too fast.
Well, I mean, the emulators come with like sort of play at native frame rate and stuff like that, which is actually why like emulating on Nintendo 64 stuff, if the game is emulated well, is really good, because you can add all these bits and pieces that actually make the game look a lot better.
So is this supposed to be the character from the film who owned the bar, or
who worked at the bar? He's the only person they seem to have got likeness rights for, aside from like maybe Bob
Meatloaf.
Yeah, Mr. Loaf.
Yes.
Because they got his. He looks like old retired Wolverine.
Yeah, he's got them sideys.
Yeah, the chops.
I don't remember him participating in the fights much in the actual film.
He didn't in the film, but he was definitely part of it, and he did fight, you just didn't see much of it. But he was part of the little conspiracy.
Well, yes.
But I mean, I don't think there's much in the way of a game you can make out of Fight Club,
well,
really.
No. I mean, the fights, as we were saying, weren't anywhere near the point of the property, either the film or the book. And
I think that's where, like, because I consider Fight Club the movie to be probably the best adaptation of a book. Like, whether you like the book or the movie, I think is irrelevant. I think it's an amazing adaptation of the work.
I think Chuck Palahniuk is on record as agreeing with that position.
I think, well, he says that the ending's better in the movie, which it really fucking is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the movie has a few, like, bonuses available to it. Like, when he holds Marla's hand, and spoilers, and go watch it if you haven't seen it, and goes, Marla, you met me at a very strange time in my life, and then the buildings start collapsing, and Where Is My Mind starts playing. That's just beautiful. Yeah. And then the dick flashes on screen and end.
Yes, I can see that's what appealed to you.
It's a fantastic ending.
Okay, so we're moving, we're getting dangerously close to an area where Brad Pitt or Edward Norton might have to appear.
Yeah, try and guess which one they are.
Oh, is one of them supposed to be...
I think that's supposed to be Tyler.
Oh, okay, so they are supposed to be those characters, but they don't have the likeness rights, so they don't look anything like them.
Yep.
I see.
Oh, look at that! Look at it! It's like a shitty motion comic.
Reminds me of the animation I do in Zero Punctuation.
Yeah, this is... Look at his chubby little cheeks.
And look at that pompadour hairstyle. It looks like a member of a Japanese biker gang.
Here comes Bob's bitch tits to make everything afraid. So it does pick up the mouse when it moves across. That's interesting.
And in keeping with video games, his tits seem a lot bigger than they were in the actual film.
Huh.
What was that noise?
That's me going on the internet to look up a move list, because they don't have the move list, because I had no idea what Fraps actually records. Yeah, so that's another thing about the game. They don't have a move list, and the game has a Tekken sort of based fighting game, so it's long, complicated combos and chains, and throw chains. And I didn't even know that characters had special moves. You have to go out into the training mode, and then look up the moves in the fucking training mode. There's no fucking move list actually in-game.
That's how most fighting games do, isn't it?
No. I mean, training mode will have, like, more detailed breakdowns of the moves, but most fighting games have...
I think it's only been recent fighting games that have added move lists that you can access on the start pause menu.
No, a lot...
I don't remember that in, like, the original Mortal Kombat.
Well, no, that's a long time ago now, man. That's 23 years ago, original Mortal Kombat.
You know
every character in that had 3 moves, if they were lucky.
This would have been over 10 years ago now. Don't that make you feel old?
Yeah. We had that discussion where I was like, is it a retro game? And I was like, well, PS2. I was like, well, that's a while ago now. I was like, yeah, shit.
Well, it does look retro, as in the graphics do look less shiny than graphics that are standard these days. Not that let's say it detracts much.
You're not missing anything.
Bloodstains on the screen.
Yeah, that's
quite ahead of its time, really.
That's about the only other one of the selling points that the game has.
The bone cracking animations and all of that.
Yeah, even though there's only about 3 of them, I think you get to see 2. But yeah, there's like the shoulder breaker, the arm breaker, and I think there's like a leg break and a few other things you can do. I always gauge how obscure a fighting game is by how long it takes me to find a move list online, if I can find a move list at all. And I couldn't find a move list for this after about 5 pages in of Google. And honestly, after about 5 pages, I think I've done my duty.
It's not fair that Bob gets to wear a shirt. Should be able to grab them bitch tits and whirl them around your head.
Just uppercut the bitch tits straight into Bob's face.
Yeah.
I kind of get a...
He's like an executive toy. So,
clack, clack,
He'll be like bopping away at his head for the next 5 minutes.
I mean, there's a tap out animation that you can do. Like, you can tap if you get down to like that kind of exclamation point, you can tap before you might get something broken, which is meant to have something to do with later gameplay.
Why would you want to tap out? Yeah.
I don't know, like, because it seemed to indicate that like injuries can transfer from like match to match, but I don't know. I never saw any of that. I actually lose 2 fights in this. I think one's against Edward Norton's not character.
Wait, so does this game at all acknowledge the well-documented twist that Fight Club has?
Yes. And
so you see Edward Norton and Brad Pitt stand-in characters, right? Is that what happens?
Oh, yeah. You see Edward Norton's and Brad Pitt's fake little,
but
duplicates.
That doesn't make any sense from outside of Edward Norton's character's perspective.
Yeah, they don't fight together. There's a really hilariously bad scene where they do like the untrustworthy narrator bit with the hero. Right. Or the narrator is what I always called him, and that is...
You mean Gabe? That's what his name is.
No, not this guy. Edward Norton's stand-in.
Oh.
Because the narrator in Fight Club never had a name. That's part of like the...
I think he's referred to as Jack in the script.
But that's the script of the movie. And he's referred to as Jack on the DVD and video case as well.
This is based on the movie.
Yeah, but his name isn't Jack. The character's name's not Jack.
Yes,
which is actually funny, because in this they put his character name as Jack, but in inverted commas, which is probably the one story-accurate thing that this movie manages to do.
He had I think it was a joke in that film that he had a different name in all of his support groups.
Yeah, Cornelius.
And I think the joke was that they were all names from, I think, what's his name? Like, the guy who was in Planet of the Apes.
Oh, Names of Apes. Oh, Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston, yes. I thought it was Names of Apes, is it?
Well, Cornelius was...
Yeah, it was an apes. I remember hearing it was a reference to Charlton Heston films.
Oh, well, it could just be characters in Charlton Heston films.
Or it might have been Roddy McDowall films. I don't know, it's one of those. It's a reference to something. Watch the DVD commentary. Jesus, what am I, Wikipedia? The IMDb?
Yahtzeepedia!
My phone's on the charger, I can't look this shit up.
Yahtzeepedia!
I'm not leaving Gabe on the mic, he can't be trusted.
You've done that like repeatedly. You've always leave.
Well, yes, I've learned my lesson. I've learned my lesson now.
I don't know. The funny part is, I've heard you when I go to pee, and that's just I at least spoke words.
Well, that's why I still feel I can't do these things without you. Don't cough on the mic.
I put my hand in front of my fucking face. You jackhole.
You were still facing the mic.
Well, I don't have many options. The mic's pointed at like I'd have to like rotate my neck past the 180.
Well, do
or
that
cough
then.
in your direction. I'll just spit on you.
You didn't rotate your neck at all.
Because
sometimes I don't think you take this...
If I rotate my neck to the right, I'm pointing right at the microphone.
Sometimes I think you don't take this venture seriously.
Venture implies it was like, you know, making money or something.
Well, not necessarily.
Isn't a venture like a commercial enterprise?
Well, not in the strict literal sense of the word, no. It just means an exploit.
Yeah, so Lou beat me because he has fat old dude powers.
So he's joined the Fight Club in this canon, has he?
Yeah, loads. It's hilarious the level of, like, barrel scraping they do to find characters that actually have any meaning or relevance.
You know, I was feeling the same way playing Hyrule Warriors this week, but never mind, because I'm going to be reviewing that.
It's about Zelda, so I don't like it.
Oh, fuck you, man. There are Zelda games I really like. Wind Waker was one of my favourite GameCube games.
I know, I'm just giving you shit.
You always are.
So yeah, now this is after I've gone, alright, fuck this, because people are doing like crazy damaging combos to me, and I started looking up a few throw combos.
Don't mind me, I'm just going to solve this Rubik's Cube while you talk.
They don't have for your character when you pick them. There's no move list for like your neutral character. You have to like find a guy that uses your fighting style, so I chose Grappler because I like wrestling moves.
Of course. And you like that very homoerotic Turkish bloke in Street Fighter 4.
Hakan. Although now I've moved on to Hugo because used right, he is absolutely broken. It's fantastic.
And you probably have some sympathies for a character like that, don't you? A huge wall of a man with very little social skills.
Says you.
Yeah, and imagine what that means, man. Imagine the fact that it's me saying that.
Dude, you have worse social skills than I do. I'd call you autistic, but autistics try. Like, I have seen you in conversations with strangers. If the conversation skews somewhere that bores you, you just shout, boring, and then expect us all to talk about something you want to discuss.
Oh, I don't do that every time.
You just do it so fucking often. It's so fucking amazing.
Some people appreciate that sort of free-spirited attitude. I'm the guy who says what everyone's thinking, but no one wants to say. That's my role in life.
Yeah, that's definitely what your role is when we're having a conversation that doesn't involve something you're particularly fascinated by.
Who was it who once said that it is the duty of the child and the half-wit to point out that the emperor has no clothes?
Alright, so which one are you there? I'm gonna go child.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because I don't think you're a half-wit.
I play video games for a living. I've certainly had my development arrested a little bit there.
Well, I think a lot of the traps of, so-called maturity are fundamentally childish things.
First row's done.
He's solving a Rubik's Cube. Didn't you learn the formula to do that online or something?
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to do, if you ask me. Speaking of weird things...
Well, how else are you supposed to do it?
I just wouldn't bother. I mean, I'm not saying it can't be a way you spend and occupy your time. I'm just perplexed by it.
I'm an inveterate fidgeter. And I found that I feel better about fidgeting if I can find ways I can fidget in impressive ways. I tried to teach myself pen twirling, but I never really got past the thumb around.
Have you tried origami?
Yeah.
That's something I've been trying to... don't get me wrong, I'm a fucking fidget too, it's terrible. But...
Hand me a newspaper, I could make you a boat this very second.
Yeah. So yeah.
But how about the funny thing is, the boat goes through 4 hats before it becomes a boat.
I like that. That sentence just tickles me right. In order to get a boat, you have to go through 4 hats.
Damn it,
such is the wisdom of Yahtzee.
I was halfway through an algorithm, and now I've forgotten where I was.
That sentence is just another gem. Halfway through an algorithm, now I forgot where I was. Well, now you're screwed. You're trapped in the cube forever. The next room's gonna have a fucking cheese knife that just comes through you. It's kind of weird living in the age of fucking irony and meta.
Is that what this is?
Oh, it's getting there. I mean, did you see the whole thing about how... Because I almost put a tweet up about it that didn't sound like 4chan. Because apparently, like, the whole big story was 4chan's threatening Emma Watson for, doing a feminist thing.
Yes, and that certainly doesn't sound like 4chan.
No, 4chan
it sounds like something that was made up by someone who doesn't really understand how 4chan works.
Yeah,
and there is no actual organisation there.
No, That's what Anonymous is. It's a shirt with like a fucking... There's no head. It's a headless fucking body. There's no one in charge. And that's what makes it both really good and really horrible.
The best way to run a resistance movement is to keep all the cells separate, so no one knows who else is in it, and no one can give compromising information if they're captured.
The mechanic just tried to powerbomb Thin Air, which is nice.
It doesn't have a name, he's just Mechanic,
yeah, all the characters are pretty much that. But yeah, so...
Was Mechanic a guy in the film?
No. He might have... He was probably the mechanic. That's why I'm betting.
I don't even remember a mechanic in the film. Second row is done.
He'll have been literally a background character in like one shot.
Oh, probably.
Because I remember they were at a car yard or something, and then he showed up later. Because all the people you sort of see early in the film wind up, or all the guys you see early in the film wind up in like one of the fight clubs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I remember that just didn't sound like 4chan, you know, which is a weird thing to say, but like 4chan is that kind of honest, just entropy grade chaos. Like they'll do things for the fucking fun of hassling somebody, not for
that's
the
appeal of it. It's sort of a completely undirectable force for chaos.
I remember just like that. Yeah, because they've never been exclusively strictly anti-feminist.
Like it's like the more sentient minds you get in one place, the less reasonable it becomes.
It's great to watch.
It's like Terry Pratchett's formula that the IQ of a crowd is the stupidest member divided by the number of members.
Well, yeah. So then it turned out that it was, you know, because this is the great thing. The saga goes on. It turns out to be some sort of viral marketing company called Rantic.
Yeah, that's where it starts to get a bit surreal, right?
Yeah, and this is what I mean. It's just, it literally hits a point where it's like, okay, this is just getting silly now. Which, you know, everyone thought it was Rantic doing something to get, you know, 4chan shut down, which you can't do and is retarded. And then it turns out that Rantic is like a fake company that, nobody is run by some sort of, you know, prank mob that are just doing this for some bizarre meta level of shits and giggles, which I must admit is...
It's like double for the lulz.
Yeah, from
how many levels down does this go?
More. I just need more levels to this. Like, I'm just... Because this is what I mean, like, I'm fucking curious. Where does this go now? Where does this stop? Oh, look, Yahtzee finished a Rubik's Cube.
Yes, and you can attest to that on the record.
Yeah, so that's a thing.
I always store my Rubik's Cube by doing a half turn on each side so that all the colours are alternating.
I wouldn't have the first clue to begin with how to solve a Rubik's Cube.
I think it's prettier that way.
I feel pretty.
I mean, you see all these like news media things that try to play up the threat of 4chan. It's a terrorist group.
It's just 4chan's sort of... like a park. In the daytime, it's lovely. And here's the thing, like, 90% of 4chan's boring as shit.
Yeah.
Like, you ever fucking go there? Like, it is boring. It is a mostly boring website of people just talking about crap.
It's just a sort of force of nature. It goes with the prevailing wind.
Oh, and against it. Like, that's the thing.
If there's a certain feeling among a large enough demographic, then they'll just sort of naturally cause some kind of consequence. Oh, this is the blonde guy from the film. Who also doesn't look anything like him.
Was it Jared Leto?
I don't know.
Yeah, like that's, you know... Because here's the thing, like, you know, 4chan do weird, destructive shit for the sake of it, but Peter have also given them awards for, like, hunting down people who hurt animals. Like, if you videotape yourself...
I wouldn't really want a reward from Peter.
No, I mean, yeah, but they are efficient at doing that. Like, there are people on the internet who are like, here's me killing a kitten, and they track that motherfucking down.
Yeah, but it's mob justice, though. It could
oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't like mob justice, but it's still funny to watch, like, the yin and yang of 4chan sort of at work. I mean,
it's dangerous if they take a story out of context.
Well, that's the interesting thing about 4chan is watching the internal discussion of that. Because that will happen. Like, that's the thing. They're not
well, people believe whatever they want to believe.
Well, I mean, it's just interesting watching sort of the broader media react to 4chan as though it's a group with an organization and a goal.
That's the only way they understand it, I suppose.
It's interesting, yeah, like... People can't imagine headlessness or mindlessness or just purposelessness.
It's like asking, you know, what can we do to take down the entire internet at once? You can't.
Yeah.
It's just too.
And the World Wide Web is only one internet. If you fuck with this one, it'll just decentralize again and become a different thing. Look, there he is.
Is that Tyler?
I think that's meant to be Jack.
Okay.
I love these cutscenes. They're just
face.
They remind me of, like...
Face again.
Zoom in, like, quick, we gotta show motion.
A third face. Two faces this time. And another two, getting money's worth.
Like an amateur motion.
Look, there's a face, I'm pointing it out. Well done, you have pointed out a face. There is my face lit from below. Oh, that makes my face curious.
A spot the face minigame. Quick time event. Face.
Ah, no phases, no phases. I can make no connections. I've got autism or something. And your mouse pointer's just taking a momentary interest in that face there.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Oh,
this is me
sassy
learning.
face.
He's drunk and he's gonna kill himself, and the guy goes, "Hey, instead of that, why don't you join Fight Club instead?"
I thought we were already in Fight Club.
Yeah, but this is him sort of remembering. So now you're getting some some character for Gabriel.
Gabriel. Oh, yeah.
Oh god, remember like early Windows like Movie Maker and shit?
Yeah.
This is like that.
What do you mean 3D Movie Maker?
Yeah. I forgot there was even like the version for it.
I think we had this exact same conversation a while back.
Time is repeating.
Oh, you'd never watch these things back, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Well, apparently not enough.
Well, I don't make a bizarre. I don't recall everything. We've done like 50 of these now.
Yeah. Sometimes I watch back to one while I'm working. Goes into my subconscious.
That and I forget things, conversations that I have with you outside of this, conversations I have with other people, and conversations I have on this kind of get blurred together. So sometimes I forget what I've said where.
Well, try to remember if anything you've said was, called out on Twitter or something. Like last week, for example, I mistakenly said that ni hao is a Japanese term when in fact
fucking racist.
When in fact it is Chinese. So stop going on about it.
You filthy racist.
I don't know, they look the same to me.
You know what the funniest part is? Hearing that from like Korean people.
It's fair enough that I got it wrong, thanks for pointing it out, but everyone was getting kind of weeaboo-ish about it at the same time. I think it was because we were talking about Japanese personality types, and apparently I got the pronunciation wrong as well.
How will you ever show your face
how will I ever show my face on these videos again? How about never?
At your local anime club that you run and manage. And talk about. See, look, there's the guy from the convenience store that we almost shot.
Oh,
he's a character in this fucking game.
He's in Fight Club as well.
Raymond Chen, yeah.
It's Raymond K. Hessel.
K. Hessel, yeah, that's it.
Funny how I remembered that.
Yeah,
I just remember it from the quote. Tomorrow will be the greatest day in Raymond K. Hessel's life. I had the privilege of watching Fight Club before anything had been spoiled about it. I watched it completely clean.
What'd you think?
I was really impressed. I had to watch it again to see all the stuff that leads up to the twist.
It's a masterpiece of turning a book into a film, because it takes literary tricks and turns them into tricks of film. And things like when they talk about the nature of cinema and the cigarette burns, and they also do the because Chuck Palahniuk's one of those authors who's a bit like what's his name, Hitchhiker's Guide, Douglas Adams, where the way he writes can make incredibly boring scenes or incredibly dull moments really interesting, because he just has a very sort of interesting way of writing,
As I recall, in Fight Club, he didn't use quotation marks for. I think it was just for the main character, which kind of threw you a bit.
I don't know. I know Irvine Welsh does that with his books.
For some, he varies his writing style depending on what character voice he's writing in.
Yeah,
because he writes from the perspective of, in Trainspotting, for example. He writes it from. I think when he's writing Begbie, it's all in much more Scottish parlance.
Begbie. Or, filth. Trying to read filth when you don't understand, phonetic Scottish. It's just okay.
Where were we?
But yeah, they maintained, by keeping... Because that was where the Hitchhiker's Guide movie fell down. It had less of the Hitchhiker's Guide narrative. Or narration. They kept...
Yeah. It was less about... Yeah, it was less about... The narration, more about the characters, I suppose.
Yeah. And that's why the Fight Club movie is great, because it keeps loads and loads of that really expressive and funny and poignant narration.
Because it's so hard to be able to watch a film without having at least some of it spoiled for you these days.
Yeah, I'd had Fight Club.
I always prefer playing a game knowing absolutely nothing about it, and even just accidentally reading a tweet from someone saying, "Oh, this wasn't very good," sort of taints your experience of the game once you go into it. I find.
You go into games with such an amazing level of expectation, though.
Well,
Destiny, dude, you were prepared to hate that game. I haven't played it. I don't care. I don't care about the reviews. But
I wasn't prepared to hate it. I tried to go in blank.
I don't know, man.
I wait to be impressed.
I think you go into a lot of games with a hostile attitude.
I don't agree. And I know best because it's my attitude.
I hear you talk. I hear you talk about going into these
There are plenty of games I
there
went
was
in...
the video like 3 weeks ago when you were like, "What do you?" I think I said like, "What are you expecting to be like?" I'm like, I hope it's shit.
I try not to expect anything because experience has taught me many times that...
Pick that out. It was like I know he said something like that about Destiny before he even played it.
Well, I was probably just going off the videos and stuff. But if I'd seen like a trailer for, say, Spec Ops: The Line, I'd probably have drawn a say, oh, it just seems like another brown military shooter to me. But
I think going into Spec Ops: The Line with that attitude would have made that game better.
I think that's the best way to do it because it starts off like that, but then it sort of subverts.
It really sets up the trope it's going to subvert.
I mean, there's one specific line towards the end. I don't think this counts as a spoiler.
How many Americans have you killed?
Well, not that one. But it's almost addressing both the main character and the player. It's where someone says, "You came into this situation because you wanted to be a hero."
This is a great game.
Yeah, I think it was you wanted to be something you're not, a hero.
So PlayStation Home is winding down.
Yes, I noted that down.
Stupid idea.
It really was a stupid idea.
Well, I think there was well intentions, but I mean, the execution was just baffling. I think
at the time Second Life was still a thing.
Yeah, and I remember reading just a discussion about it online, and it was I realized I was waiting in line in a video game to go bowling.
Yeah, that was dumb. There were limited lanes for imaginary bowling.
Undoing the purpose of the joy of digital, the infinite real estate of the digital realm.
But I guess they didn't want to fall into the same trap of Second Life, where it just became a haven for fetishists.
Chemical Guy. God, remember Chemical Guy?
Because all the characters and places in PlayStation Home were incredibly vanilla and bland. You're just like generic person. Change your haircut and glasses and clothes.
See, if anything, I respect Second Life for allowing you to be an enormous sentient fox penis, because at least that's some fucking variety.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's no point to having a mad digital wonderland if you can't.
There was a time when people were like
something like that.
There was a time when there was like it was a Swedish embassy in Second Life. It was supposed to be, the next step for the internet before we can take it towards a Neil Stephenson book. But then it just became a haven for furry sex.
So many. Yeah, I remember seeing.
I don't think you'll never improve upon a system if it's quick and efficient. And getting your news in cyberspace would be a hell of a lot less efficient than just going to a news site and reading the top headline.
Yeah. Until it's a plug in my neck that makes me sort of experience it. It's just...
Yeah, but, all that faffing about, like you're in a virtual news stand and you have to pick a virtual newspaper off a shelf and read...
I could just click a link.
I imagine that would get very tiresome.
I remember when I first got my PS3, I was just fiddling around looking at it, and I was just like,
Man, you wrecked that guy up.
Yeah.
He's got a face like a Silent Hill monster.
He tried to cheat us out of chemicals.
Bastard.
Used for bombs.
That'll
terrorism. Which is besieging Australia.
Oh, so this isn't actually part of the fight clubbing. He's just said, I have a genuine reason to hate you, but we're going to take our shirts off and do it proper style anyway.
Yeah, in like a restaurant.
In a restaurant.
A nice fancy restaurant, you gotta make sure. It's fancy.
I mean, there's always a certain level of contrivance when you're playing a fighting game as to why these people are suddenly having one-on-one punch-ups with a 3-round structure in the middle of random locations.
Street Fighter, it's just, that's the universe. That's how this works.
Yeah, that's just how you settle most disputes.
The best part is, in Street Fighter lore, there's usually a tournament. Like, it is someone's organized a tournament. Except Street Fighter 3 Third Strike.
In most fighting games, it's a tournament.
Yeah. Well, that's to be fair. That's how a lot of fights are organized.
And that's what it is. That's the best possible way to explain that as being suddenly a fight with rules going on.
Or except, I think there was a good little joke video on Dorkly, I think, about Mortal Kombat. How it's not a tournament. It's just me fighting people one after the other. And it's like, what is Sonya? Sonya's my 7th fighter. It's like, what does she do until I get there? She has a 7-round bye. Shit like that.
So what was the plot of Street Fighter Third Strike you were saying?
The tournament had collapsed in on itself and people were just fighting for the sake of it.
Okay,
Which is the most honest Street Fighter plot I think I've ever heard.
But then how do you know who's the winner?
Whoever's standing at the end.
Okay.
And whoever hasn't had a disembodied voice scream KO at them.
Well, somehow the disembodied voice is still finding work then.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty easy to get work as a disembodied voice. There's a lot of things you can do.
Well,
you can narrate Will Ferrell's life.
Yeah, you can do movie trailers. You can persuade people like David Berkowitz to kill.
Haunt the religious.
But anyway, yes, PlayStation Home, waste of time.
And now it's going away, so that's nice.
Yeah, but I hear apparently there are still people who play it. Well, I say play in the biggest sarcasm quotes available. I don't understand what anyone gets out of it. And I remember when they used to have like virtual 3D chat rooms back in the early days of the web. I used to hang around in those. They were kind of silly and fun. But, you know, it was... You were more sort of like basking in the new wave of communication, really. Yeah. More than efficiently communicating with people.
What else has been happening lately? Steam has a thing now.
Yes, there's been a recent Steam update which changed all the visuals, so presumably everyone will hate it forever now. But they introduced this curator system, which I remember Gabe Newell talking about in a talk ages and ages ago, where which was posited as a possible solution to the current problem of Steam, where it's just piles upon piles of new indie games that are most of which are crap.
Identical and shitloads of them.
But how the curator system works is that noted internet personalities and news sources and web sources and stuff have their own page, and they just list the games they want people to play that recommend. And so you go to one of those and go, ooh, well recommended, I shall check that out.
I'm going to start my own for shitty fucking games.
Well, a lot of people have asked me if I intend to make one. And
do you intend to make one?
No, I mean, I've got like 6 different projects going at the moment. I can't really spare the time.
Also, you know, we talk about games you should play on here reasonably, you know, easily enough.
Well...
Yeah. Also, it's kind of weird, like, it's just a list. I looked at it, it was just, here's a list of games I like.
Well, you write a little reviewer for each one as well. If you're taking it seriously, I mean.
So that's I'll do one, and developers, you can pay me money to talk about how great your games are.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a free service. That's partly why I don't really have much interest in doing it, because
ching, Yahtzee won't get out of bed for at least 10 points.
Well, I understand the idea of like a curated storefront, because that's how a lot of boutiques work. They'll like stock the brands and the products that they believe in, and then they take a cut of the sales because they're exposing those products to a larger populace.
Yeah,
like third-party chain store thing. I can understand that principle, but it's hard to say this without sounding mercenary. But I don't really see what's in it for me to run something like that. When, as I say, I've got a lot of things I need to be concentrating on.
Community engagement.
Well, we know
supporting the art.
Well, we know how I feel about community engagement.
You are like just comically hostile, like even more so than me, and I don't really have a community.
Well, you're sort of growing one.
Maybe you should. That sounds horrible.
Maybe you just
sort of growing one.
Yeah, better let the doctor take a look at that.
You've come down with a bad case of community.
Yeah, you got an acute community sprouting out your asshole there.
Oh God, I got to call everyone I've had sex with.
Rub it with cream and call me in the morning.
There you go. I'm sorry. You're gonna develop a community now. I usually my community comes on really bad in winter. It's just horrible.
But on the bright side, you'll always have someone who'll praise whatever garbage you put out.
I don't know how much garbage I really bother putting out.
I got my community grew next to my arse, and every time I took a shit, it went, "Wow, you're really improving." That one was almost perfectly cylindrical.
I love how you tease me for having like a hostile attitude toward, and I don't really have a hostile attitude.
I'm like facetiously expressing that attitude for comic effect.
Well, I find it peculiar because you were doing stuff to have internet fame.
Well, yes.
Yeah, like whereas like I'm just a friend of yours who does this for fun. So the idea of like people have sort of treated me as though I've got that, which is peculiar. It's just very alien and odd to me, and I find it just. You don't see it. You have to understand how odd it can be for someone who hasn't done this with a goal in mind.
Okay, well, I was never putting stuff online with any specific goal in mind, but...
Was it Yahtzee Kershaw versus the world?
Fuck that. But after that, because I put a little pride in the stuff I put out there, and then, the world eventually beat a path to my door. Because if you're doing something because, you enjoy it,
that's
might as well put some pride into it, because then it might become your job.
Well, that's the key. Do it because you love it, not because you're trying to milk it. Here we go. Okay.
Okay, what's this then?
This is it's taking place on Jekyll and Hyde Street.
Well, I've got nothing against, the Steam curator system, I should say.
But we're just teasing people.
No, I mean, whatever works.
Look at the faces. Look at the faces.
That certainly is a face.
It's like just that is just gold. Like,
so is that Tyler Durden now?
Yeah, that's the narrator, Tyler / narrator.
Okay.
So he's jumping between personalities. That's Tyler there with the crazy eyes.
Right.
He's having a conversation with himself at the moment.
So this is kind of spoiling the film, really, at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, honestly though, I'm not sure how your first interaction with Fight Club would be. I suppose if your older brother bought this game and you sat down and
possibly
played it, you'd have played through a very, very, very bad fighting game.
Yeah.
And I'm a connoisseur of shit fighting games. Like, I love them.
When that time you brought all those digitized fighting games to look at.
I'm gonna do another batch of those at some
point.
I'm gonna find an excuse to do another batch of shitty fighting games.
Well, I suppose that video was a bit of a laugh.
Yeah, you had some fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yes,
I was quite proud of the toilet mat hair observation. Looking back on that video.
And so this is the boss. I have to fight Jack.
Okay. Yes, Jack in quotes.
In quotes.
Not that we're spoiling anything.
And he's like fucking hardcore for the first stage. He just whops the shit out of me because there's reversals you can do in the game where you have to like tap forward and block at the exact moment of contact. But the hit connections and like as you can see, the hit connections are kind of sloppy, so I could never get it to work. But the good news is the computer can just fucking nail you, even mid combo string. So that's
nice. So is there like a non-story mode where you can play any of these characters yourself?
Yeah, there's an arcade mode. It's just I figured I'd do story mode because I figured cutscenes would help fill out the video, which it didn't.
Fair enough.
But I found a way. Don't worry.
No, if any game could have used unlockable costumes, it was this.
They're actually
could have them wear funny hats and little cowboy vests.
Yeah, there actually are some interesting and novel unlockable characters. Like you know how they mentioned like Abraham Lincoln.
Can you fight Helena Bonham Carter?
Sadly, no. But you can be Abraham Lincoln.
Can you be Gandhi as well?
Tragically, no. I think that's a big fucking oversight. Yeah. There's a Gandhi skin for Dalsum in the PC version of Street Fighter, which is fucking great. Like, someone put effort into it. It's really good.
That all reminds me of Mercenaries 2 had 2 downloadable costumes around the time of the American election that changed the playable main character to Barack Obama or Sarah Palin. And they had like voice lines as well. It was put quite a bit of effort into it.
Do they get like impressionists, or was it sort of clips from
impressionists? I think.
Okay.
But it was cute.
Yeah, that's nice. That's novel. So I think the idea of like a fighting game where you can play as
oh no, white short-haired, brown-haired dude is kicking the shit out of other white short-haired, brown-haired dude.
The characters in this do not jump out at you, say, as a character from Street Fighter, Tekken, or Mortal Kombat.
No.
There's not a lot of immediate identifiability with these.
I've always thought the best thing to visual design is to be recognizable from across the room.
Or from a silhouette, even.
That's why I hate so much box art these days. I mean, like box art where it's just like a swarm of faces clustered around, like they're all standing on boxes of different heights and facing in different directions.
It's funny seeing the kind of trends that go through sort of, Hollywood and gaming in terms of box art and posters.
Just a collage of imagery. Like, you see a bloke slowly walking towards the camera in the middle, and around it there's a helicopter crashing or some people running through a building.
Yeah.
And it's just a mess. It's a mess, I tell you.
Person walking away from explosion. Death Valley driver. Into submission chain.
I like a simple box art that uses, minimalist imagery to immediately express something that you can recognize from across the room.
What would you cite as a good piece of minimalist box art?
Well, we had this conversation after we did Future Wars. Remember when I was showing you all the shitty box arts that Delphine Games have had?
Yeah, but that was like we were specifically looking at shitty examples there.
Yeah, but I was saying like the Japanese or European box art for Heavy Rain.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Shitty game, but yeah. Quite an elegant design there.
If you're gonna make a game that's almost entirely plot based, at least make the plot make a bit more sense.
Well, quite.
Admittedly, the cutting the finger off? That sequence was kind of neat.
Yeah, I remember saying that in the video. That's a really hard to watch scene. It's really pretty well done.
I think it was. I think there are times when doing things like that with when it forces the player to do something like that is kind of neat. Like when you deal with Big Boss at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah.
And you just stand there for ages, and it's beautiful, kind of,
beautiful little scene. I think that's kind of lost from modern perspective when Metal Gear Solid being the butt of jokes mainly.
See, I still like the Metal Gear Solid. I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is probably the best one from my standpoint, and even if you know, even if I don't like Kojima's habit of just, you know, exposition dumps, I still think that he manages to... They're interesting. They're interesting to me.
I think he has some skill when it comes to entirely visual emotion storytelling. I mean, you saw that Silent Hills teaser thing. I mean, that was a pretty good demonstration of just showing some visual, like visceral visual imagery.
A giant torso with one arm chasing me down a hallway gives me the willies.
But I don't think he can write dialogue for shit, which is a shame, because as you say, he does tend to overdo that.
The ending of Metal Gear Solid 4 was just atrocious.
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah.
We're gonna bring dead characters back, spend ages explaining why they're back, and then use them to further a point that doesn't need to be made.
Here's a hint if you ever plan to design a story-based game. If you ever have to have an exposition scene and then discover it's so boring, you have to flash up random pictures of the things you're talking about as the exposition is droning on. Maybe rethink the story there. Maybe try and go over it and see how much can be said without dialogue.
Oh, but yeah, see, you're just not getting it. You see, you should go back to playing Modern Warfare if you want, like, just a quick, stupid shooter. Oh, you don't understand the sublime
Hideo Kojima is a writer who has no patience for people inferring anything other than what he intended. Hideo Kojima, it seems like he writes really lengthy character profiles.
He needs an editor.
And then feels he has to... Oh, hey, this cutscene's animated all of a sudden.
Yeah, they got money back.
I take it this is the end of the game, then?
Yeah, that was the boss fight. I didn't know that was the boss fight, but that was the boss fight.
Oh, okay. That was quick.
Yeah.
Whatever shall we do to fill the rest of the time?
That's this game's M. Bison. Well, there's...
Why are you holding some kind of EMP pistol from Halo?
It's a remote control car remote that is hooked up to the bombs that will detonate and... bring everything back to zero, which will not really accomplish a lot.
Back to zero, you say?
Well, that was, Tyler's silly plan.
Well, that was like a repeated line in the Metal Gear Solid 4 ending as well.
Yeah.
Hey, this character's called Zero. Let's talk about all the ways that can be applied to symbolism and shit. What a bunch of twats we are.
Face.
Nice eyeshadow there, Brenda.
Anything else interesting happen in gaming this week, or was that it that you wrote down?
Is it just gonna recreate a final scene from
Pretty
Fight
much.
Club?
Yeah, pretty much. I was actually a bit surprised at that myself.
Yeah.
But the idea is it just shows you that your character was the one that pushed the button that made it happen. And ooh.
Okay, so you can feel involved.
Yeah, I'm helping, mommy, I'm helping.
I hate that bollocks.
It is a bit annoying. I mean, it's kind of like the way every character scene in the background of any of the Star Wars movies has had this rich and vital role added to them.
It's like when you're sequelizing and adapting, you need to ask yourself, are you building off something or are you just wallowing in it? Are you just jerking it off the whole way because you're a fan of it? I've always felt that way about new Doctor Who when certain writers are involved. So are you continuing in the spirit, or are you just jerking off as a fan of the work?
The thing is, Doctor Who has 50 years worth of history, so...
I always thought, especially during the David Tennant years, all the characters seemed totally in love with the Doctor as a character. They're saying, he's great, he's amazing, he will save the universe, he's got his spans reality.
To be fair, that was a decent reaction, because one of the things that used to bug me about old Doctor Who was everywhere he went, nobody had ever fucking heard of him, despite the fact he'd been bouncing around time, saving the day forever.
I've sometimes thought that, to be fair, is a prefix that should be banned, and that any sentence that follows it you should disregard entirely.
Well, okay, I disagree with your assessment because you don't know much about Doctor Who.
Possibly, but I think to be fair is it's like immediately throwing up the banner of the White Knight.
Well, no, I think to be fair is I can understand how you'd come to that conclusion, but I think you've come to that conclusion from not enough information. Because you haven't watched any of old Doctor Who, really.
Well,
how much of it?
Fuck you, man. When they were showing it daily on ABC One a few years back, I watched it religiously.
Oh, well, see, I didn't know that. Every time we talk about Doctor Who, it's I don't care, it's stupid, you're dumb for liking it.
Actually, when have I said that? I kind of stopped after the Tom Baker era ended, because I don't know, I just started getting boring.
Well, okay, I've watched every existing episode read most of the books.
Well, there's commitment here.
Yeah, well...
So that means we can't expect an unbiased viewpoint from you.
No. It's just... Like, the interesting thing about Doctor Who is each successive kind of style that it's made in tends to reflect the previous one a little bit. And that goes with, like, his personalities and regenerations as well. They tend to sort of be a little bit of the opposite. And
look at all these people who should be ashamed of themselves.
I don't blame any of these people. I think this was this was work.
Well, not one of them put a hand up at any point and said, "Has anyone else noticed this is completely missing the point of the adaptation material?"
Yeah, but you know, sometimes you just gotta go to work to get paid. This was a cheap, shitty cash in. Yeah,
glad to be working. All these people just glad to be working.
Wanna, you know, are you hungry? Hungry? You want some food? I'll give you some food. But yeah, I mean, you know, modern Doctor Who engaged with the idea that he might actually be remembered for the shit that he did. Which I think also got taken a bit too far, which is why he then tried to delete himself from, you know, history, which I think was sort of a cheap, you know, method of dealing with that.
Okay, Doctor Who's the Inquisitor now.
Yeah, essentially. Well, erase memory of him, you know, he wasn't trying to delete himself.
Well, I thought, like, nobody recognised him when he showed up, because every time he went back in time a certain amount, he, like, changed the whole time stream.
Well, that's an interesting, you know, sort of broader theory about how Doctor Who works, because it has no tight canon ever. It's never had a tight canon. There's been, like, I think 3 different destructions of Atlantis, 2 different Loch Ness Monster explanations.
That's something to admire, I think. It's only in recent years that television became so rapidly serialized all over the place.
Yeah, that was, I mean, again, they used to just delete episodes. What are we going to do with this old episode? Burn it. Nobody wants to watch that anymore.
I used to watch Star Trek all the time. I kind of like, you know, episode of the week, back to status quo thing.
Well, I think Star Trek, and, you know, to a degree Doctor Who has that. I don't think you need, like, long-form serialization, but, yeah, it's just now we have the ability to access every episode of a TV show at will. And that's really changed how TV works. Like, it has had a profound effect on sort of how we structure
I would think
plot.
that structure would support status quo, like, non-serialized shows, because it means you can watch at any point. You can, like, take a random episode from anywhere during the series.
Yeah, but see, a lot of TV has been status quo for a long time, so the big experiment now is how much you can do in terms of serialization. Like, BoJack Horseman was a recent release on Netflix, which started out feeling like a very cheap and simple, standard animated sitcom. But because it's on Netflix and because they can make an episode knowing that you have the ability to watch the one previous, they built the story. So the story actually became reasonably good.
Right.
So the characters actually developed, they went places.
It's playlist culture, I suppose.
Yeah, and that's really changing how TV works now. So we can get, as opposed to 20 or, you know, 13 single episodes, we actually get a 13-hour story.
Well, that's great, but what I kind of like about status quo non-serialization is that it can really sort of build something. It's sort of like really establish a character down to the bone. So when you do the occasional, like, you know, best of both worlds style double episode, and where really, like, earth-shattering things stuff, it feels...
What would you say as an example of that, just out of curiosity?
I just said the best of both worlds. Star Trek Next Generation.
Oh, right, okay, I didn't realize that was the title of the episode you were talking about.
Picard gets Borgified at the end of the first episode, and you're like, holy shit! He's like, Captain Picard's a fucking rock. How did that happen?
You can unlock Fred Durst as a playable character in this game.
Fred Durst?
The lead singer of Limp Bizkit.
Of course.
Yeah, he's in a bizarre amount of video games, and I think it's because he had a thing in his contract that whenever Limp Bizkit music got used, he got put in the game. Because he's in like a few...
That's a weird, but at the same time, it's kind of whimsical thing to have in your contract.
I completely understand.
That's cute. I'd kind of like to have a contract like that as well.
You should. You should absolutely do that. You should just Yahtzee Kershaw, unlockable player. I'd design your fighting style. I'd do that for you. I think it'd be fun.
Well, if it was anything like my real life fighting style, I'd just
slapping.
I'd weakly slap something and then curl up.
You're like Metapod. you can just use Harden. So yeah, I decided just to have a look at Fred Durst and his amazing fighting style.
Nice tats.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's in some way differentiable from the other characters.
Backwards red hat means Durst.
Right. That's because no one's ever worn that.
Nope, that is completely Fred. That's just all Freddy to a T.
Could just as easily be Poochie from the Itchy and Scratchy show.
He is kind of like the human Poochie.
When Fred Durst is not on screen, everyone should be saying, "Where's Fred Durst?"
And there are a few people who will behave like that. They're mostly unemployed.
I wonder how that sort of ego grows. Probably because there's too many yes men around for too long.
Honestly, if you're a big fan of video games and the thought occurs like, hey, can I be in this? And someone says yes, then you're like, yeah.
I'd quite like to be in a video game. I'd quite like to be a fighting game character, I guess.
Make your own fucking video games. You can make this happen. Yeah, so that game ended really quickly. And
that would be the height of egotism. I'd just like to...
I did Snowboard Kids as well, because Slide.
I'd just like to be a cameo in someone else's larger game universe.
There you have it, indie game makers. Have your pity Yahtzee, and I'm sure he'll give your game a good review.
Well, I was playing Roundabout this week.
Pity Yahtzee!
Have you played that? Like a new Steam game. It's a rather eccentric sort of top-down driving game, but where you control a limousine that continuously rotates on a central point.
No.
And you just have to steer your way around things, allowing for the continuous rotation. And what's weird about it is that a lot of it some things started to strike me as familiar at it, like certain voices. And then, turns out half the characters in it are, voiced by Something Awful Forum Let's Players, of all people. One of the, main villain characters is the voice of Psychedelic Eyeball, who's this, French-Canadian guy, who's got a very distinctive voice, and is always fun to listen to.
Yeah,
and it's just a weird place to take cameos from. I guess maybe it was developed by someone who hangs around there a lot.
Give it back to the community.
Well, it seemed a bit in-jokey, I guess. I'm not sure how popular the Something Awful Let's Play forum is outside of certain circles.
Of its group.
Because there's a lot of in-jokes that you wouldn't get if you weren't familiar with the people.
Fuck it, that's the benefit of, a huge and broad gaming.
Well, that's the benefit of, the new sort of Kickstarter culture, isn't it? Yeah. You can make something that's strictly niche-y, because, only the people who paid for it.
I don't mind that.
Are the ones who play it. I suppose that's one way to do it.
Actually, there we go. We can get onto a question by Zipper93.
What makes a good Let's Play? What makes a good Let's Play? Well, not this, obviously.
Well, no. I think we specifically described this as not a Let's Play.
Well, no, it's a Let's Drown Out.
Yeah.
It's a podcast that's
copyright!
Hybrid. It's our own thing. We made it up. Do not steal.
Yeah. If you do, I will come to your house and shit into your eyes.
Well, I generally watch a Let's Play if I'd like to see the content of a game that I'm familiar with again, but I don't particularly want to play it. Just kind of feeling lazy.
The ones that I tend to look at from time to time, the Let's Plays, I think, have real solid value are the archivist ones, the ones that kind of just play through a game silently, so I can go, okay, what was the name of that boss, or how did that happen, or I can't remember, and then I go back and I look.
Yeah, those have a place. But also I like Let's Play by people who, I think sometimes referred to as completionist Let's Plays, where they show everything in the game and talk you through it.
Well, again, I'd put that into the archival.
I mean, that's kind of like what we've been talking about for a Let's Deconstruct.
I think that's more engaging some of your more complex criticism skills.
But I quite like...
that's what I want to see you do.
We plugged them a couple of weeks back on the MGS3 video, but Chip Cheesem and General Ironicus are a pair who generally do very completionist Let's Plays where they go through and explain all the gameplay. And they did it for Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, and it sort of made me look on that game with a new, fresh perspective. Because there's a lot of stuff that's really badly explained in that game. But they made it look, halfway fun. Yeah,
the only ones I ever really look at, and I couldn't tell you what they were called because I just Google this game and then find the first one that doesn't yammer at me. Are the archival. The archival Let's Plays, I think, are very valuable and very important. So
most recently, Chip and Ironicus have been playing The Wonderful 101, which I started playing but never got through very well because it's really unfriendly to start playing that. And they're again doing the same sort of service.
My brother was talking about how good Wonderful 101 was, but I haven't got around to it.
Yeah, it just didn't, just kind of scared a lot of people off, that game. Because it's kind of a big barrier to entry. But I guess other than the archival stuff, I mean, the Let's Play that kind of got me into Dark Souls, maybe give it a second look, was just like a sort of a blind Let's Play that a guy was playing, I think it was Geop, on the Something Awful Let's Play forums, and he was being directed by the people on his stream thing. And so they could stop him if he was going in the wrong way, and so it wouldn't get too boring.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of made it interesting.
Was that on Twitch or was that a live thing?
I'm not sure. Might have been. I think they did a stream one and they did a non-streamed one.
That's me learning that explosives will hit you as well.
Are there any other Let's Plays you want to plug?
Well, again, I don't really engage in much of YouTube.
No.
So, again, I don't have, like, a favorite Let's Player or, you know, kind of anything like that. I just sort of Google it, I was like, okay, I need to see a game. So I just, in general, you know, I will say that I do like people who will go through and just play a game solely through its, you know, because I think it contributes the ability, because again, there are some games you just can't see a certain bit of it without playing like 15 hours to get to,
well, yes.
And that's fucking insane. So archival work, I think, is really important, because without that, you know, it makes the medium harder to sort of review and examine as an art form.
I do like to latch onto certain personalities.
Yes, I mean,
I think having an annoying voice is a huge turn-off for me. It's a shame.
What would you define as annoying?
Well,
I'm sure we sound annoying to some
just
people.
the sort of you know, reedy. They sound like they've got very saliva-filled mouths.
That's a fascinating observation. I don't like people with wet mouths talking to me. Get away! Get away!
I know, it's when you can hear them breathing too much as well. I don't like. Sometimes I can hear us breathing too much when I listen back to these, and that kind of annoys me then as well. That's why your coughing always pisses me off so much. I like characters with a fairly deep and rich voice, so you can feel like you're being listening to a smooth jazz station late at night. Ooh, that was Jules Holland playing on the blah 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 of the blah blah blah. And now let's smooth it down a notch.
Welcome to Yahtzee and Gabriel Let's Deconstruct, and today we'll be doing Killer 7. It's an interesting game.
See, that's the wrong voice to use for Killer 7, I'd say. You want to say, fucking hell, did you see that? He just headbutted a bullet out of the air.
This game's weird.
I wish this guy was my dad.
He's so fucking cool. Actually, there's an interesting segue. What do you think about Sex in Video Games by Pixelman? And that gets me to, I think one of the most interesting things about Killer 7 to me is it's a mature game that is actually mature and not just filled with, like, goofy sex and violence. Because at one point, you see Harlan basically being raped in that.
Yeah.
And that's an awkward scene.
Yeah, it is, but I wonder if I'd say mature.
I mean, I think it's weird, but I think it takes a very mature, like, it's...
There's a lot of that game that's just kind of silly, like the whole Power Rangers segment.
Yeah, but again, I think that's a, you know, kind of a deconstruction of the bizarre tropes of that aspect of Japanese culture, like the Sentai
Possibly.
Warriors. I mean, the game, I would not call that game an immature game.
But well, I guess, it just feels kind of atonal. It just kind of feels all over the place.
Well, I think that's...
There's some bits that are kind of goofy, and there's some bits that, as you say, are kind of, like, hard to watch and dark. And it's not, I don't think, you know, having an inconsistent tone is a good thing.
See, to me it...
I mean, I like the game.
To me it wasn't inconsistent. To me it was that perpetual... Because it made me uncomfortable. Like, you know, in the middle of it there's this weird fucking Sentai thing that was still, you know, it wasn't friendly. It was still dark and odd, and then it ends with panning out to one of the characters playing it as a video game itself.
I suppose it's trying to create a sense of where you can't really focus on any one thing, a sort of stream of consciousness almost. Yeah. I suppose if that's the intention, and I think it almost certainly was with Killer 7.
I believe it was, yeah.
Then that makes
Killer 7's a great game. I love that game. You know, even up to its weird linear gameplay choices.
I mean, there's other games like, say, Deadly Premonition, for example, which I think suffers from does suffer from inconsistent tone. Because some of it's kind of goofy and makes you think, wow, these characters are cool, but then suddenly there's, like, you know, implied rape and gets kind of dark at the end.
I don't think I've played Deadly Premonition.
And it feels kind of out of place just because the game was kind of funny up to that point for being sort of technically inept. Where's all the snow gone? This is bullshit.
Yeah, now I'm snowboarding on a fucking beach. Mind fucking blown, Yahtzee.
Excuse me. What was this game called?
Beach Board Kids 2.
No,
Beach Apocalypse.
I don't think it was called that, was it?
Rasta Beach Savior.
What was the first syllable of the first word of this game?
Sand.
No, that wasn't it. What was it?
Sandboard Kids.
No, you're lying.
Rock.
No, it wasn't
Rock Hard Borderoo.
This is bollocks.
It's a fucking dementedly colourful Nintendo 64, you know, racy Mario Karty game.
It's like there not being any David Lynch films in Crash Bandicoot.
Huh?
Never mind.
I would like to see David Lynch films in Crash, but
who directed Crash, the film?
I think that was Lynch, hang on.
I
always get that mixed up with one other movie that I...
Well, there's two films called Crash.
Yeah, that's...
One of them's more recent. One of them's kind of sexy and was banned in some countries.
Yeah. No. Crash was Cronenberg.
I always get those two mixed up.
Yeah. Cronenberg does more body horror.
Yeah, he did The Fly.
Yeah, and Naked Lunch.
And Videodrome.
Videodrome. All hail the new flesh.
But David Lynch is more about...
Nightbreed.
David Lynch is
I love Cronenberg.
Nightbreed wasn't Cronenberg.
I'm nearly 100% sure Nightbreed was Cronenberg.
No, it wasn't. It was Clive Barker. And also it had a cameo by David Lynch as Dr. Decker, the killer. But I don't think it was David Cronenberg.
Okay. Oh, it was Clive Barker.
Told you.
David Cronenberg was Decker, not Lynch.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. As I said, I keep getting those two confused. But he didn't direct it.
No, it was actually... I didn't know he actually ever directed Clive Barker. Because I saw Cronenberg in it. It felt very Cronenberg-y.
Well, all I knew was that it was called Clive Barker's Nightbreed, because that's Clive Barker's habit, isn't it?
Yeah, but wasn't
He always sticks his name in front of things like
wasn't Hellraiser like directed by somebody else? Like I don't think Clive Barker.
Possibly. It was based on a story by Clive Barker called The Hellbound Heart.
Which is your favorite? I think I prefer the sequel to the original.
Weren't we talking about sex in video games a while back?
Yeah, okay, well, how do you feel about... because...
Well, I think I've made this point before, but I don't see how you could have sex in most games and without making it seem a bit, out of nowhere.
Well, I find the presentation of sex even in movies kind of dumb, mostly.
Because I like gameplay and story to work together, and unless, except in certain very specific cases, sex doesn't really work well into a gameplay structure.
Well, I find, because there's two kinds of, if you're trying to make the sex intimate, that's not going to work because we're watching. It just, sex to me is just, it looks stupid. Like, it really does. It's funny and it's dumb.
Well, if you're talking about games that had a sex scene that didn't feel out of place, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time has a love scene that kind of cuts away when you...
Yeah. Implied. I think
it's implied sex. It's implied that they have it away, and it works because I think I said before, Sands of Time is based partly on a romance between the main two characters, and it's one of the most effective romances in video games, I've always thought. So I think it worked there, but yeah, it doesn't actually show any sex going on.
Well, that's the thing. I think showing sex is just mostly fucking pointless.
Yes.
Because you're either going for titillation, which is fine.
If you're making like Leisure Suit Larry, yeah.
Yeah.
If just doing taking it from sort of Porky's perspective.
Yeah. Or there's that kind of goofball Porky's kind of
Confessions of a Window Cleaner sort of attitude to sex, which is fine. I mean, I always think the whole goofy sex farce is kind of a lost art these days.
Yeah,
because I don't think people take sex too seriously.
Well, that's the idea. I find it fundamentally kind of funny. I think that's a good, and that's the thing. Whenever I see sort of sex done either in cinema or in games or anything.
You're on a turtle now. This is getting further away from snow by the millisecond.
You shut up about Frostilicus the turtle.
Sorry, you were saying.
I don't know. I can't remember now. I'm just thinking about snowboarding on a turtle. If you upturned a turtle, you could probably snowboard on it. Don't do that.
Well, you can snowboard on. Probably snowboard on if you didn't upturn as well.
Yeah, the presentation of sex to me in stuff is always just kind of asinine. Like when they try to make it look seductive, it just looks fucking silly.
Yeah, like the sex scene in David Cage seems to do it a lot. The sex scenes in Heavy Rain and Indigo Prophecy.
Yeah.
And I think there's one in Beyond Two Souls as well, but I think they cut away.
So again, I like implying it, because you can't do actual...
well, it's like kissing in video games, because the models don't interact perfectly, there's always that uncanny valley feeling.
Oh, well, there's that, but I mean, you can't sort of display intimacy, because being able to see it, I think, eliminates some of the... innately eliminates the intimacy of it.
I think I've talked about this before, but I've always wondered, is it possible to have, like an erotic game that didn't, treat it as a silly thing?
I think adventure games could probably manage it.
I mean, take a game a game that tries to do the same.
Phantasmagoria 2. Hey, I'm not saying it's the most successful job of it, but I think it was not horrible.
I mean, erotica is a form of art in itself.
Yeah.
But I can't think of any video games that could be said to have done the erotica thing.
Well, I think because most of them inevitably go for titillation over erotica.
Well, yes, but a lot of erotica sort of does that as well. I mean, that's kind of what erotica is.
Yeah, like the difference between burlesque and stripping. This is acceptable titty. This is unacceptable titty.
I'd say the difference between hardcore porn and the Shannon Tweed erotic thriller sort of vein of film.
I see. That's the thing. I've always it's like when I remember when one of the last times I was at a strip club, one of the strippers called me a square because she was from the 30s, and I didn't want to lap dance because I don't see the fucking point. Basically, I'm paying to be given an erection and then sent on my way. Like, it's just pointless.
Yeah,
so that's why I always find the the borderline erotica things as just meaningless. Like,
really?
what's the point?
I find them very effective because I've never liked hardcore porn because I hate all the having to clinically see all the biological details. Always puts me off, and I just like to get the. I suppose that's it's like how seeing someone in a bikini can be sexier than seeing them naked.
So you'd use the sort of gentle erotica in a pornographic fashion, though?
Yes, I would.
Oh, okay. Well, see, that's purposeful then. Like, I mean, just like kind of watching it as a thing in and of itself.
I think suggestion is more is better from in a lot of perspectives. Well, video's up, so we'll probably wrap this up. What did we learn? What did we learn from today?
Do the word.
Well, let's talk about what we learned first.
Okay. PlayStation Home is dumb and going away, so that's nice. 4chan isn't a singular thing, for fuck's sake. Like, please just remember that. It's like a park, anyone can go in there.
And
it's mostly boring.
And do think carefully before you accidentally adapt films to video game.
Okay, what book are you doing it from?
Well, this time I thought I'd use the official playing guide for Flight of the Amazon Queen. Which was given to me by John Passfield, one of the original developers of the game, who also lives in Brisbane and is now a friend of mine. And he was kind enough to sign it for me.
Aren't they the ones who did, come on, brain. What other adventure games did they do?
I think this was the only one.
I'm sure they're the ones that did Beneath a Still Sky.
No.
Huh.
That was Revolution, I think. But anyway. Or Rebellion, one of those. No, I think it was Revolution. There's two. Revolution, Rebellion. Rebellion's the shitty one.
Revolution. Yeah. Okay.
Say when, and do it quickly because it's a short book.
When? Okay, that's...
Okay, just so when.
When?
Western.
Huh.
The sentence is, time to head back to that other bastion of Western civilization. Which doesn't really mean anything outside of context. Western. Well, I guess we'll be cowboying it up next week.
Yeah, so Red Dead Redemption it is.
Until then, his name was Robert Paulson.
When mutants bite hard and munitions are low, our defenses are high, but our bullets won't flow, and we're changing our aim, guarding different roads. Chuds will tear us apart again.
Oh, I see where that went eventually. See, I couldn't identify it by the melody because you are as tone deaf as a fucking seat cushion.
Yeah, we made that joke. I like the hip hop.
Yes, you do. I like the show tunes.
You do like a bit of razzle dazzle.
At the table in the corner, I could see a world reborn.
What's that from?
And they rose with voices ringing, and I can hear them now, the very words that they had sung became their last communion.
There's an open house going on this floor too, so right now everyone thinks that there's like just song practice going on.
It'll make them more willing to move in. Ooh. They'll get to hear me lovely singing in the shower.
Free music.
What are we playing?
I don't know. The title screen just didn't have it in front of us. Well, taking the word which we forgot to do at the end of the video last week, which was slide.
Yes.
Whenever I hear slide in my head, it immediately jumps to the little penguin from...
I know it does, because every time we say the word on these videos, you fucking quit. It's like Zelda or something.
Genuine Game's biggest title, 50 Cent Bulletproof.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Did they make Blood on the Sand?
They... doesn't look like it. But yeah, so the cutscenes aren't cutscenes.
Our animation budget ran out.
Yeah, they're just CG pictures. And when the faces are kind of comedically rubber puppety, later on, like, there are some cutscenes that are legitimately fucking hilarious because it's just cutting between, like just shots like that, where it's just cutting between two dumb-looking faces back and forth.
So this game has a plot, does it?
Yeah, the idea is you're a newbie who wants to join Project Mayhem, and that's basically it. And it's kind of like a side quest to the movie to sort of explain how it fits in with the major narrative.
What I'm kind of suspecting is that maybe they rendered the whole like CG animated movie of this, but either it looked like shit, or they couldn't fit the full video on the disc.
I don't know, like the bullshit, they can't fit like fucking video on the disc, like come on.
Well, I remember when Spider-Man, the game for N64 and PS1 came out, PS1 version had nice animated CG cutscenes.
Yeah.
N64 version had really, because it was on the cartridge, which had space limitations, had really shitty cutscenes like what we just saw.
Well, yeah, this isn't on the Nintendo 64.
Well, no, but I'm just thinking, I'm thinking it might have been something technical. I'm thinking they might have just looked like absolute garbage, so they tried to salvage it as best they could with little time remaining.
I mean, the intro ones,
Wrote that bit.
Yeah, I can't help it. It's like a trigger. Slide. So I thought, well, I'll do the old Fight Club fighting game for the PS2, which doesn't really have slide. Doesn't really have slide as a central theme, like is usually the point, but it is a very brief reference to the film it's based on. Thank you. Verb as a central theme is like, especially slide. Like, I mean, I suppose I could have done like.
Well, you could have done Snowboard Kids or something.
Well, yeah, give it a minute. But, this game starts terrible and gets worse. Like,
well, I remember the moment it was announced, I think, whoa, that idea completely misses the point of the film, doesn't it?
In a lot of ways, and in a lot of ways I wouldn't even thought it could have. It finds new ways to fail at this, and it's such a cheap, depressing tie-in.
Yeah, I don't see much satire on the concept of anti-capitalism going on here.
Yeah, and I feel sorry for the people who made this. Like, I don't blame them, because obviously this was just, it was a job.
Do we know who made it?
Vivendi.
Oh.
So, yeah,
well, that's a publisher, isn't it?
I don't know.
Tell you what, I'll look. Oh, my phone.
Have a look.
My phone's on the charger.
Well, I'll look it up then.
Well, you can't.
Yeah, there was no great irony, and what they made it into was
They made it into like basically taking the like maybe like the first half of the film as completely.
One Hillbilly's review,
unironically literal.
One Hillbilly's review of the first 20 minutes of the movie, and they turned it into a shitty Tekken clone, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have. I mean, I've always thought the fighting game is almost an appreciation of characters in its purest form, because it's just colorful characters expressing their personalities through animation and brief voice clips alone. And I like it for its elegance, although I don't like playing the games themselves. This is just a continuous fight between two shirtless dudes.
Yeah, like that's... And it's funny what character... Like, also, they don't have the likeness rights to either Brad Pitt or Edward Norton.
No, of course not.
Which is kind of funny.
That shit's worth money, yo.
Yeah, and... They put in weird characters. About the most recognizable character they have in this is Bob, and that is because of his amazing bitch tits.
Now I'm trying to think.
Genuine Games is the developer.
Genuine Games. What else do they do?
I'm looking. But yeah, like, I mean, the characters' models are meant to, like, sort of, like, this is what I read about it. The character models are meant to bruise. Blood's meant to come out of them, and they're kind of meant to get some damage and stuff.
Yeah, I remember hearing it had a damage engine.
Yeah, which it sort of does, but not very well. He's taunting me, which makes him invulnerable to throws for some reason.
You're fighting like fucking schoolgirls. Look at the slow balletic movements. Well, you've bashed up his face.
I have seen so many schoolgirls fight like that.
You got to see his skeleton for a moment there. It's like Mortal Kombat. That's supposed to be you, is it?
Yeah, like there's no like creator character. That's not like me building me. That's just
you just can choose your name.
Yeah, tidy enough for this era.
I didn't really pay attention.
Well, the intro one didn't look shit. So if the intro one could exist,
well, were they actually look at them? Look how slow his blows are.
I was about to say there is actually a bit of slowdown in this because I had a choice between hardware emulation, which emulated it at flawless speed, and left giant green bars on the screen.
I see.
Or software emulation, which ran it on slowdown despite what I was cranking it, which is frustrating because I have a good fucking tower.
Yeah,
which,
I'm sure you do.
Should be able to run it, but that's the woes of emulation. So yeah, in stages where it's raining...
I bet your tower impresses all the ladies.
It gets by. Yeah, in stages where it's raining, there's a bit more noticeable slowdown. It's mostly okay, otherwise.
Okay. Well, I remember the blows seemed a little slow in the last fight as well.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and it seemed like more an animation thing.
I think the native frame rate for this game was like 50 for some reason, and
well, that shouldn't.
It slows down to about 41, I think it was, where it had its really bad drops.
Well, if it had a lower frame rate, surely an emulation would be playing too fast.
Well, I mean, the emulators come with like sort of play at native frame rate and stuff like that, which is actually why like emulating Nintendo 64 stuff, if the game is emulated well, is really good because you can add all these bits and pieces that actually make the game look a lot better.
So is this supposed to be the character from the film who owned the bar, or
who worked at the bar? He's the only person they seem to have got like